it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified I go live right now or post a new video. So today we're going to be discussing how do you know if you've healed or you're healing and moving on. This is if you've had heartache and heartbreak in a relationship or dating scenario. My hair's flying everywhere today. So we're going to crack all that in a moment. But first of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. So let's crack on with tonight's stream. So yes, how do you know if you're getting over someone? If you are, getting over heartache and heartbreak and, pain is going basically. So how do you know that? Like, what is the telltale signs? Well, as you know, I had my heart broken by two guys last year, both asexual guys, as far as I know, and it was really, really difficult for a long, long time. But I'm an asexual who doesn't experience any platonic attraction whatsoever, so it's very, very difficult for me to lose those feelings for someone. Like, once I have feelings for someone, which I usually have really quickly for them, it's very difficult for me to lose that again. Like, I'm not the type of person that can just be out of sight, out of mind initially and that be it. I can do it eventually. The less and less I speak to them or see them, the less I have contact with them, the better it is for me. And so that's how it helps me to finally get over them. But when that initially happens, it's very difficult for me. And so it takes me some time. It usually takes me up to 8 months to go from feeling love and romantic feelings to just feeling like a friendship type of thing. And obviously, if someone's not been great for me and I've blocked them, then obviously I'm not going to carry on being their actual friend. But if we look in terms of degrees of feelings, most people who meet someone, you have you have the feeling that this person's an acquaintance, this person might be nice to talk to, might not be nice to talk to. You kind of see where the landlines, and you build up like a friendship type of thing. And then usually feelings would develop, unless of course it's sexual attraction or aesthetic attraction or something like that, which is often pretty instant, but not always. Like with British guys, with me, I don't usually get aesthetically attracted to them that much or at all, unless I formed an emotional connection with them. Then I can become much more aesthetically attracted to them. So it's quite interesting. But in general, I can't just stop feeling something like that for someone if I really did love the person, right? And so, it usually is, I know from my own personal experience with myself, 8 months. Now, the first guy that I thought I loved, that, as far as I was concerned at the time, I did. And now now that's really good. The way I'm speaking, listen to that, I'm talking past tense. So this is one of the ways you can tell that you're getting over or healing a past love or relationship or dating breakup, is when you can put it in past tense. So instead of me saying I love him in the moment, I'm saying I loved him. So it's very much gone to past tense now. This is a really good sign that you've healed or you're healing and you're moving on. Because if you've not moved on, you would usually say it in present tense. If you've moved on or moving on, you would say it in past tense, which is what I'm saying. Because the guy back in June, it's been pretty much 8 months now: June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. We're into March now, so it's going into like the 9th month now. And so, I very much, my feelings have been really faded for him now. I'm getting less and less that I can remember him. He's the whole feelings for him is just really fading a lot, and I don't feel the same like I used to about him. It's really diminished, and it's harder for me to remember him and think about him. And so therefore, I'm kind of having to try and remember it a bit when I don't want to. And so that's a really good sign that you're healing. Obviously, if you're trying to block that person out rather than deal with the feelings, then that's different. You're just like kind of covering up and repressing feelings, which is really bad. But I feel that given the fact I have been thinking I him for quite a long time, and he's been in my thoughts a lot over the past months, and I've been having to like deal with that situation on my own because obviously he's blocked from my life now. I feel that it is about healing with him, and it is about getting over him because I've kind of faced the fact I've LOVE'd him for so long, even though he's been out of my life since June last year. So I think the fact I've actually dealt with that, I've sat with the feelings with him for months on end. I've done all that. Is he going to come back? Is he isn't going to? If he isn't, is he not going to come back? Like, I've gone through the scenarios of how it ended and all like that in my mind. And now it's just really like fading, you know, the feelings I had for him are fading. They've really gone a lot already. I find it hard to feel the same way about him anymore. And, you know, so this is a really good sign that I've healed and moved on. With the second guy, that was only the 1st of November. And that has been harder in the sense that, not harder because he wasn't Indian, but harder, the first one was, but harder because, I guess because we were friends for a while first, and also because he was like the last person that I felt that way about. But even with him, it's halfway faded now. I think I still have a bit to go with that person, but I really feel like I'm starting to lose those feelings now, and I'm starting to move on and feel comfortable about that, and not feel sorry for the situation, if that makes sense. I don't want to say feel sorry for the person because I shouldn't feel sorry for the person because they weren't particularly pleasant in the end, as you know. But I still have a heart, you know, I'm still a caring person. So anyway, yeah, I just feel like I feel less upset when I talk about them now. I feel like obviously they weren't the right person for me. And both these people I wish the best for. I think they have stuff that they need to work on themselves. And I hope they do, you know, like everyone needs to work on things to better themselves, improve themselves. I've had some therapy, which I think is very beneficial, although I did a lot of the work myself. And so, yeah, and so, you know, I feel like I'm healing and moving on. I'm not completely there yet because I still have some feelings. The first guy really faded now, though. Lot. You know, I can't even say that they're the same feelings anymore. Second guy, I'm halfway there, like I said, because it's 8 months usually, and so I know myself really well. But, you know, when you feel less attracted to that person, when you feel less LOVE feelings to that person, when you feel like more like it doesn't matter if they go from your life, you go from theirs for good, and you actually, you know, like when you first block the person, I blocked these people for my own good, because they weren't good for me personally. And so, you know, it takes real courage to do that. And it's not easy because it's literally, that's it, I'm done, and I leave. I don't beat around the bush. I've learned in my life to not stay with people who are not good for me, right? And you know, they had their chances. They had more than one chance, both of them did, and they blew it. So that's not my problem. Anyway, you know, but I can see that, you know, I'm healing because when you heal, you've actually faced kind of your fear and your anxiety and worry and upset and pain head on. And with both these people, I've done that. And I think that's really beneficial because I think in the past, actually, I didn't really do that with some of the guys. I had feelings and I just kind of like went from one guy to the next guy in terms of like liking this guy, liking that guy, not full blown love like these two. But, you know, I still had feelings for the other guys. But with these two guys, you know, really, it was like full on love feelings from me to them. And so it's been very difficult to move on in that way. But the reason I'm healing myself and know that I'm healing this time is because I was feeling those feelings of love for them both at different times, obviously, but both still getting over them over the last months. And so I faced those feelings head on and sat with them, which is one of the most hardest things to do in the world. Like in the past, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And it takes great courage and strength. It's really difficult, right? Really difficult, because everyone's a human being at the end of the day. We've all got a heart. We all want to be loved and accepted and cared for who we are, you know? And unfortunately for me, I tend to end up feeling sorry for people that I shouldn't feel sorry for, because I care so much, you know? And so anyway, you know, I realise that I am healing because lately as well, I've started to move on. Like, I've been talking to more Indian guys lately. Some have been really bad and some have been okay. Some are nice. There's one person who's Indian we've just become online friends. I don't know how it's going to go, but we can only be friends. We can't be anything more. But he's just a really nice person to talk to because he's very mature. He's an older than I would usually go for. And he is like in his late 20s rather than early 20s. And he's just really nice to talk to. He's like having a mature conversation with me, and I can talk to him and he's down to earth and I can just be me. Which is what you really want in a friend. So I don't know if it'll go anywhere. We've only just started talking. We've only had a couple of text conversations. With me, it's very difficult because I can get love feelings really quickly. And the first time we messaged, I was kind of feeling a little bit like that. But when we messaged yesterday, I felt not like that. I could contain it. So that's really good for me because I don't want to be feeling those feelings towards him because there's no point because he's literally in India. He has no intention of moving. He can't do long distance relationship. I can't do long distance relationship, and he's not into public kissing, which I am. So that just wouldn't work. Because we actually met through an asexual dating group. He's very beautiful, aesthetically very beautiful. But I can have an actual decent conversation with him, which most guys can't have an actual conversation. Trying to get an actual conversation that's healthy and, you know, where you both share your opinion and you do so in a very free way is really refreshing. And that's what I really like about this person so far. So yeah. I'll see how that goes anyway. But, you know, then I've had some idiot Indian guys contact me. One saying, oh, he just wants me to be his friend, and that's it. I'm not allowed any other friends. So he was controlling, blocked. And then I had another guy who saw me in one of the Indian groups, decided to message me to ask me some questions, but then just didn't bother speaking to me again because I told him I got a disability, you know, because I know that if person is trying to do something for their own selfish desires or means, that if you tell them, oh, you're disabled, then they'll probably run a mile because unfortunately people still have a stigma around disabled people. And you know what I mean? And if he was, you know, if he was a genuine guy, which he should be from given his background of why he wanted to talk to me, but he did offer me offer me to be employed, to employ him. Sorry, get my words mixed up. It was late at night. So he asked me for a job, basically. I don't have any jobs. I don't know why these people keep thinking I've got jobs. It's like I work from home for myself as an author. I do my own social media. I don't have jobs for people. I love doing social media. I love doing this channel. You know what I'm saying? Why would I employ anyone to yeah, I might, you know, eventually employ someone to help market my asexual books to reach a more global audience, which can only be great for asexuals, but only if they did it in the right way. But obviously, you know, I'm the one that's actually asexual, and so I need to do most of it myself, you know? So, you know, the whole point is that, you know, as soon as I thought, oh, I'll say I've got disabilities, and if he's got an ulterior motive for why he's connecting with me, then he'll disappear, and he did. And he hasn't even looked on purpose, obviously. He mustn't have looked at my last messages. I think it's very rude. Do you know what I mean? If you really want some information and that person's offering help, then why be so rude? So anyway, you know, I know I'm on the path to healing though, because I'm more open to love again. I'm more open to talking to other guys now. I don't feel like I have to stay single. Whereas before I was like, no, I've got to stay single. The world's a horrible place. Guys are horrible. I still think there's a lot of horrible guys in the world, unfortunately. But you know, I'm more open to love again. I'm calmer as well. I'm much more calmer about love and relationships and dating again. I'm not feeling angry like I was before and so hurt. I'm just kind of feeling like, yeah, it's time that I moved on, you know. And also, I want to be completely over these two guys, because I always say on this channel, you cannot give your heart and love fully to someone else if you've still got another person in it. So I'll be glad when I've fully got rid of both these people out of my heart for good. The first one, I think I'm pretty much already there. Although if he came back into my life, it probably might be instigated again, I don't know. But the second one, yeah, I still haven't got over that person fully, but halfway there, because my feelings aren't as strong like they are, and they're going a bit backwards. I can feel them. So that's what's really weird, because I can start to think the second person how I used to think about him as a friend. So I can start to feel that way again, even though we're not speaking, obviously. He's blocked from my life, but do you know what I mean? So that is really helpful to me. It helps me, because it's like with me not experiencing platonic attraction, it has to go backwards. It has to go through the back through the love, through to the friendship, and then to the acquaintance and nothing. That's it. You're removed from my life stage. So it's very bizarre how hyperromanticism really truly works. It's a very, very reversed kind of psychology, reversed relationship stages. It's kind of very strange in that respect. It's very rare, I think, even amongst asexuals. So, well, like I said, one of the reasons you can tell that you've healed or are healing is because, you know, that person's not so prominent in your life anymore. They're not so important in your life anymore. You start talking about past tense, like you loved them or dated them or was in a relationship with them. Your feelings are just really fading. You're not so bothered if you don't see that person ever again in your life. You're not so bothered that you're not together with that person. You kind of like are okay to move on. You start looking around at other people, but in a healthy way. So I stopped dating and relationship looking because I don't want to take those feelings towards another relationship or dating scenario, because that's not healthy, you know. It means it'll just be problematic again. I'll probably get angry with the next person who comes my way, because I'll be thinking they're the same way as these people and treating them accordingly, and that's not fair on them. I'm not saying they won't be bad, because obviously I had a guy that came yesterday and started trying to control me, but which did put me off dating relationships again. But I'm just thinking, but you know, that not every guy's like him, you know. Some people are very mature, very nice to talk to, and they are loving and caring, you know. Some others are just a-holes, clearly. But yeah, so I think, you know, me personally, I'm a lot calmer in my inner being when I think of these people. I'm kind of a lot more, you know, I'm getting there. The first one, like I said, he's really fading. I can barely even remember him that much now. I do remember he bought my book. I do remember he bought a top, and I do kind of remember him if I think about him and push myself to think about him. But it's kind of like I'm trying to realize, or I am realizing, that these people, you know, I guess I kind of put them on a pedestal a bit, because that's maybe what I do when I love someone. It's like, oh, they're so amazing. And I think now the pedestal has been taken away, and I'm thinking, actually, there was faults with, you know, and things that were not good for being in a long-term relationship with these people, as they were in that scenario. So I think, you know, being able to recognize the fact of when someone's not good for you and wasn't good for you, but you do it with a much more kind of methodical and logical approach rather than a I'm really upset approach, is another sign that you're healing, you know. Because if you can look at it with a more logical brain, a more methodical approach, then you can understand why you're not with these people, person, in my case, two people anymore, two people at different times, not the same time. I'm not polyamorous. And you know, you can kind of like logically leave them in your mind, because what you have to do in order to heal, you have to leave them in your mind, your body, your soul, and your heart. And you have to free yourself from them and from the emotional attachment bond. That is one of the hardest things to break. I get very emotionally attached to a guy, and like, if I'd have been in a happy, loving, caring, committed relationship, that bond would just continue on and on and on. But because they were no good for me, it's kind of like you've got to just separate from that bond. You have to break the bond, and it can take some time to do. And the more you do it naturally, the better it is. Like with me, like I said, going through the stages, because a lot of people go through stages when they split up with someone, it's dating or relationship, and you go through the stage of kind of being angry if they weren't great with you. You go through the stage of grief and grieving. You go through the stage of mourning their loss, if you know what I mean, which is part of grief. Then you kind of go through the, okay, I've got to come to terms with this, but I'm still really upset and in pain. Then you kind of go to the, okay, well, clearly I can live without them and manage without them because I am doing. And then you kind of get used to being on your own more and having your own space, doing more your own thing. And the more you spend time apart from them and realize that you are a unique being, an entity that doesn't need anyone else's approval or anyone else to live a full and active life, and that you don't actually need this person in life, the less need you have for this person, the less attached you become. And the less attached you become, the more you can free yourself and heal yourself. But healing's not just about the other people and how they were with you or you with them and why it didn't work out. It's about, healing yourself from the inside, from the trauma of that situation. Because, when you split up with someone, it's not easy. It's very, especially if you love them, it's very traumatic, very upsetting, very painful. Especially if you had to do it. If it's the same case of, right, you really love that person, you have to go for your own good. And so, it can be very difficult to break that bond. But that's what you have to do in order to be able to move on to let someone else in your life. You have to be able to move that bond, to be break it. Because, you have to have the will and want to not have that bond anymore, because you have to see that it's no use to you. That it's no good holding on to it, because it's just more heartache and pain, and there's no reason for it. The less you speak to them, the less you have contact with them, the more you understand that you can manage without and be without them forever, and it's okay, and you can move on. And so this is very powerful. This is extremely powerful, and you just really need to fully break that. Eventually, I will break it with both of them completely. I don't know if they came back into my life. Like, usually if someone comes back into my life, and I talk to them, it can reinstigate the feelings. But these people are blocked from my personal social media, so I don't see any way they would be talking to me again. The second person, definitely not. I don't think they'll ever speak to me again, which is fine. And the first person, I always kept thinking they might come back after they finish their studies, because 2023, next year, is when they finish everything. And that was when they were thinking about possibly being with me. But it's ridiculous. You cannot be with someone who prioritizes their whole workload and doesn't want to know you when COVID's over. You know what I mean? Anyway, they chose their friends over me. I don't think you should ever be choosing one of the, like, my friends, I would never ever give up. Like, I wouldn't expect him to. But at the same time, I would never not value a romantic relationship as well. I think you can value it equally in different ways, if you know what I mean. Like, you should still make a romantic relationship a priority as well as friendships. But I will always make my friendships a priority, always. But if I had a romantic partner, I'd make that person a priority as well. I'd make sure that I had some time for them every week. You know what I mean? I fitted them into my life, because that's what you do. Because, like, for me, a romantic partner would be my best friend as well. It'd be like having that extra best friend. So it'd be important to spend some time with them as well, because you have to do that in a relationship. You can't spend any time with someone. It's just ridiculous. And so, I don't even think you should be a choice between your friends or your romantic partner. Your friends should never put you in that position. I don't put any of my friends in that position saying, oh, well, if you've got a romantic partner, you have to be this, that, and the other with me. And it's like, no, because we're friends. I trust them. They need to spend time with their partner. I understand that. And I encourage it. I'm friends with my best friend's partner anyway. You know, they need to spend time with them. That's how you maintain and have a healthy relationship, you know? It works both ways. Like, friends need to be understanding of their friends and their partner's needs, not just the friendship needs. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people overlook that. They think, oh, that I'm their friend, and I think it's bad if you have friends with someone, they abandon you for a romantic relationship. They should never do that. It's also equally bad if they don't spend any time with their partner and all they do is completely see their friends and never see their partner and always put their friends first. You know, you have to have a balance between that person seeing their friends and seeing their partner. You know, you shouldn't be one over the other. That's not right. It's about working as a team together and making sure that everyone's happy in that team. You know, like their partner loves them, and I'm glad they've got someone who loves them. That's important to me because I want their happiness. And any friend, good friend, should want someone's happiness, you know? So, you know, these are the ways in which, you know, I know that I'm healing and moving on. And, you know, when you don't think about that person much anymore, when they're not really in your life anymore, when you kind of like closing the space for them in your life, when you're closing the space for them in your mind and your heart and the soul, when you finally realize that, you know, even involuntary, that you can start loving other people again, start having feelings for other people again, and, you know, you start being more attracted to others again. And also that you're deeply peaceful in your soul, like, you know, you don't need another person, but you're welcome to have another person, and you don't think everyone's complete a-holes. You know, if you're at a stage where you're still angry thinking everyone's a complete a-hole, then obviously you're not healed. But, you know, healing can take a long time. Like with my long-term ex of 8.5 years in total, because we were together 7, and then a year and a half, and then 7 months. So add it together, 8.5 years in total. My last long-term ex, it took me 18 months to 2 years to get over him. But I still did it, you know? And that took some doing. Sometimes I still have nightmares with him in it. I'll say nightmares because they're not good dreams, that's for sure. But I think it's because I talk about him quite a lot on this channel, so it automatically does that sometimes. But yeah. But, you know, I'm really glad that I'm moving on. I'm really glad that I can feel a shift in me. And I think that's another way you can tell if you're moving on, is there's a genuine shift in your being, in your aura, in your divine spirit, if you like. If there's an actual shift, you can kind of feel it within yourself, and you can feel things moving and starting to kind of like get back to the way they were, in the sense of you coming back to yourself. You're not relying on that other person for love or to love them anymore. You are literally letting them go, and you're saying it's okay, you can be on your way, it's fine, our journey's ended together, and I wish you the best of luck, you know, and love and happiness, you know. That's kind of when you've healed a lot more and healing. And when you can see your future with someone else, and no longer these people, you know, and you actually see a future for yourself, you know, even if it's single. Like, I very much am career focused at the moment as well. I'm really glad that I'm looking after that part of my life a lot more these days. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff I want to do for me. I like taking care of myself. I like looking after myself. I like being single. I do enjoy it a lot, you know? And unless I find the right guy for me, there is absolutely no point in getting into a relationship, you know? Because it's not going to be good. And you need some person who's very strong, very mature, and very able to have adult conversations to be in a relationship and respect each other's opinions. It's really important. So I think when you can see better qualities in guys, you can actually see that not everyone's an a-hole. I think that really does help you to see that you're healing, that you're moving on. Because if you think everyone in the complete world is complete bastard, then, you know what I mean, you're clearly angry about the past still. I do think there's a lot of guys that aren't good. Don't get me wrong, a lot of guys, and even my friends that are into guys, other friends that are into guys, they've had really bad experiences with a lot of guys, but not everyone's like that. There are still some good guys in the world. And so it's really important that you notice that, just like there's some good women in the world, um, I'm one of them, I believe and know, as far as I'm concerned. So, so yeah, it's imperative that you do move on eventually. I know some people who are Indian, because obviously I'm interested in Indians who just like and similar ethnicities who just like can't move on. They're still hankering after their ex, the person who they loved at school. It's very interesting though, because last year there was one of my asexual friends on my Facebook list, Facebook friends. They shared a post of me, which was one of the guys I was previously interested in a long time ago. It was Indian, who I blocked from my life because he could never come over here. And he's actually married a widow now in India, and she's got kids. And this person was saying, I think it's so good that he's done that because it's quite taboo in India. It was a little bit hurtful, I guess, in one sense, that like bringing that up again. But I was glad because it's true. I want people to be happy in their life, and I think it is really good that he's done that. And it's good that he's moved on, because when I spoke to him, he's still not over his ex from like school. And so for him to actually be married now, to someone who is widowed and have kids and everything, and take that on, I just think that's really good of him to do that, and also good because I think it means he's moved on now and found the love of his life. And so, I would say that's amazing, because you can't hanker after someone forever and a day. You can't still love a person from years ago and still keep hankering after them if you want to be in a relationship with someone else, because it's not fair on them. I guess if you stay single, then it really doesn't matter so much, but it's not going to do you any good, is it? You know what I mean? But some people, I guess they do regret things their whole life, but that's if they've done wrong by the person. They might always remember it because it might really hit them hard in their heart, as someone that got away and they wish they behaved better, but in general, you need to move on, and we all need to love ourselves enough to realize that we cannot keep giving our heart to the wrong person, and we need to heal it up and keep it with us and move it on, and give that up, if you know what I mean. And that's sometimes what's hard. People get addicted to things, people hang on to things. I find it hard to let go of things. I'm not going to lie to you. Even possessions and objects, I find it hard to let go of. But with people, we have to come to a realization that we have to let them go at some point. We can't stay attached to them forever. People that are not in our lives anymore, that were no good for us, we have to let them go, because you cannot have like new things come into your life when your cup is overflowing with old things. If your life is still, and your heart, your mind and soul is just still full up of junk, as it were, like bits of people that you cannot be with anymore because it's not right for you, it's kind of like you've got no healthy open space for anyone else to come into it. Do you know what I mean? I need help with something. How do I make a girl like me even though they like someone else? You can't make anyone like you. You can't make anyone like you. If they like someone else, you can't make anyone like you. All you can do is be a kind, caring person, If a lot of these other channels, they create stupid tactics like, oh, do this, text a girl this, and say this to a girl, or whatever type of gender it is, and it's just ridiculous. What you have to do to attract someone is be a nice, kind, caring person who's loyal, faithful, there for the person, understanding, best friend to someone. That's really the secret of attraction, is forming emotional bond with someone. And the way you form an emotional bond with someone is you talk to them, you pay them attention, you have actual proper conversations, not yes or no or one line or one word answers, and you act normal like you would talking to your best friend. People make such a crazy thing out of how do you attract someone. You attract someone by being normal instead of an idiot like loads of people are online. You know, by having a proper real conversation, by talking to them, by asking them about themselves. Because people love to talk about themselves. If you ask about their self, you know, that person about themselves, take an interest in what they do, but you also need to share stuff of yourself and be vulnerable with them. Because if you're just asking them to share stuff about themselves, it's all one-sided, and it can border on narcissism as well. Because narcissistic people, abusers, bad people, they will always try to cover up what they do and not reveal much about themselves in order to find out the other person's information and be emotionally abusive. And you obviously, I hope you're not that type of person. So, you know, you'd need to basically be a really good friend to them, like the bestest friend they can ever be, you know, so that they feel so comfortable around you and happy to talk to you and trust you. Don't lie about anything, not even one little tiny iota of anything. You know, so they have complete trust in you, your bestest friends. They feel like they want you in their life, that you kind of like go together in some way. And so therefore, you know, you are kind of meant to be in their life. Doesn't mean to say they're going to prefer you over the other person. Doesn't mean to say they're going to be with you, you know, if they like someone else. But you can't actually make someone like you, but you can do things like I've suggested if you want to have more chance of someone liking you. But it depends why they like that other person, you know, and how long they've known the other person, how much they trust the other person. But, you know, it goes a long way these days for being a nice person, you know, being a really, really nice, kind, caring, loving, understanding person with back and forwards conversations, always there for the person, you know, that goes a long way, because other people aren't doing that online. Other people are just swiping. They're just, I don't know the personal circumstances, obviously. I don't know how relevant this information is. I mean, the girl you like, she might like someone else that's, you know, that's been around in their life for a very long time. They've had a great friendship for years, you know, they hang out with each other, and you might have really not much chance because they've already got a bond together and they already, you know. But I personally wouldn't waste any time if they like someone else. I don't. If I find out a guy likes someone else, I'm off. I'm not interested in sticking around. Why would I be interested in sticking around? Because I want someone who wants me for me, who values me, who wants a relationship or dating scenario with me, not someone else. And I don't want to have to compete with other people. So if a guy's like, oh, I'm interested in someone else, I like, be fine. Off you go then. Good luck. Bye-bye. Next. That's my attitude. Because, you know, you don't want to be chasing after someone. You just want to be there for someone. And, you know, but if they prefer someone else or after someone else, I just like get on with my own life and try and find someone more suitable for me. Because clearly they're not recognizing you in the way you're recognizing them. But the only way you're going to get someone to like you, a girl to like you, if they're a good person, is by, how I've said, by acting more normal than other people doing, caring, committed, understanding, honest, loyal, you know, being there for someone. Like with women, they tend to, in general, this is very stereotypical, they tend to love on a more emotional level. I don't know what gender you are, but guys tend to love on a more physical level. So obviously with women, they need some sort of emotional connection in order to feel something for the guy, usually, or whatever gender you are, you know, in order to feel something, you know. So it's important to be yourself and to be there for someone. Like, really, that person needs to feel comfortable around you, because you can only have a really long-term, serious, committed relationship that's healthy if you feel comfortable around the other person. You have to feel comfortable. They should feel like your comfy armchair, that you can do, say, or be anything in front of them. Like, I have this type of relationship with just my friends, my deepest, closest, bestest friends. They can do what they like in front of me. I can do what I like in front of them. You know, talk about really like stuff that you wouldn't. You're a guy, yeah. So, you know, you talk about stuff that nothing's off limits. you know? So that would be my suggestions. Because there's so many people, you don't want to be going around saying certain texts or certain things just to get someone to like you, because that will just wear off very quickly. You won't be able to keep up, and it'll be false. The girl will see right through that. She'll feel that something's off. So, if you really like the person, you have to show them that you like them. How do you show that you like a friend? Like if you're a guy, you've probably got male friends, right? How do you show your male friends that you like them? You probably hang out with them, you probably phone them or text them, you probably have stuff in common that you chat about, you probably care about what they're up to, you probably like to do some sort of bonding with them. Do you know what I mean? It's very similar, but with females, usually more sensitivity, more caringness, more romance, more kindness, a bit more exaggerated and more of the soft, sensitive skills. So most people have got it wrong. Most people think, oh, a guy's got to be really macho to attract a woman. That isn't actually true. A guy who's the best type of guy really for any woman usually has a mixture of masculine and feminine traits. So the masculine side is strong for the woman, boundary driven, knows what he wants, is developing and growing himself, career orientated, got stuff going for him, not just sat down having a pint in the evenings and doing sweet FA with his life. I mean, what woman wants that? She wants someone with ambition. She wants someone with ambition, but enough time for her to make her a priority in his life, So you've got to have a mixture of kind of strong masculine traits in the sense of being able to be strong, know what you want, know your own mind, be very a pillar of strength to her. But you need to be feminine, have feminine qualities enough that you can emotionally connect with the person, that you can get into your emotional side, that you don't, that you could cry possibly even in front of her, and you not for manipulation tactics, but that you don't mind expressing your emotions, you don't mind saying how you feel about her, how you care about her, how she means to you even as a friend and to be in your life. That's actually the key to success, is having a balance of masculine and feminine traits, and being able to be feminine enough to have that emotional connection, but masculine enough to be able to be strong and supportive and know your own mind. So that's actually the key to successful relationship, is both in the 21st century. If you have an all masculine man, the woman can't actually relate to that type of guy. She might be able to be attracted to him, but it won't last. It would be more artificial attraction, attraction that couldn't actually sustain a relationship. In order to sustain a relationship, you need both. If a woman can't emotionally connect with a guy, she'll eventually find a guy who can emotionally connect with her. And even if she was in a physical relationship with a guy that she might enjoy, if there's another guy around that can emotionally connect with her and feel her in an emotional way, she's more likely to go towards that guy who's emotionally supportive but emotionally connecting with her, because she'll resonate that much more, because it connects to her femininity. Doesn't mean to say all women have to be all completely feminine at all. Many women these days are very independent. They have their own jobs, they have their own money, they can look after themselves. They have more masculine traits like that. So the best way for a man and a woman, whatever gender it is, but if you're going for a man or woman, is for the woman to have some male traits and the man to have some female traits. So they meet in the middle, and they can meet in union then. So rather than years ago being kind of polar opposites, where you had masculine, guy goes out to work, guy does all the house things, guy provides money, guy provides food, and you had the woman at home being the housewife. That doesn't work nowadays in the 21st century. Usually, obviously in some cultures that they still have that, but it works now that you have a mixture of both, so that you can come into the middle, because women automatically usually have more what you call masculine traits these days, because they have to. It's the modern day. No longer does daddy and mummy take care of every daughter, financially and physically, and put a roof over their head. Women have to fend for themselves. A lot of women have to bring up children on their own. For example, I don't have kids, but a lot of other women do. A lot of women are, for example, single mothers, you know, but I have to live on my own. I have to support myself. I have some guy traits that I'm proud of, you know, which is being very strong, being very direct, knowing my own mind, speaking my own mind, saying no, standing up for myself, you know, all these type of things are usually seen as guy things. I do a lot of work for myself as well. You know, these are type of masculine qualities. But I have like this feminine side to me which you know, it's nice to be cuddled, nice to be kissed, nice to be held, nice to be understood, nice for a guy to have decent conversation with me, check in with me each day, see how I'm doing, you know, if I'm interested in romance with him, for example. But even my best friends, you know, they check in with me regularly, usually every day. We chat about what we're doing in our day, how things are going, how we're feeling. And this is how you emotionally connect with someone, because it's high communication levels, and like leave nothing off the table. Like a woman should be able to speak to a guy with whatever she wants to ask him, and he shouldn't be afraid, if he's got nothing to hide, to answer any of her questions. Because if he's got nothing to hide, it doesn't matter what question she asks him. It's fine, it's cool, no problem. You know, it's only the guys that got stuff to hide that will get like resistance to that, or change the subject, or divert it, or pretend that situation never happened. So they'll change what the woman says or something about what the woman says, which is very crafty. So I teach a lot on this channel about scammers and abusers and narcissists and emotional abusers and stuff like that. So there's a lot I teach in that way as well. I hope this has been helpful for you anyway. So basically, you know, like it's all about emotional connection usually with a woman, and about giving different things to what other people are. It's about being more normal. So for example, when I was on Facebook dating, it's literally a swipe for sex culture. You know, you don't have long, deep conversations with them. They're just really looking for appearances. And you can completely tell the difference between a guy who's just artificial. A guy will come and chat, talk about some superficial stuff. He might talk about being emotionally connected, but when you've just met a person, you don't usually talk about stuff like that. Emotional connection is built. It's not, I'm gonna be having an emotional connection with you now. You know, that's just contrived. You know, you have to emotionally connect over time, naturally, not contrived. So yeah, anyway, I hope you found that helpful for you. You know, so you know, like I can tell the difference between the guy, for example, I spoke to just as a friend. I spoke to a guy in messaging a couple of times this week who is Indian, but we can only be friends, and we've made that clear. But when I speak to him, I can have a decent conversation with him, and it's very respectful and very like sharing opinions and expressing ourselves in a more kind of formal, friendly, boundary driven way. And that's really healthy, and I can be comfortable around that person because they're very mature and boundary driven. And you know that they're very serious in the way they talk, although they're fine at the same time, not overly serious, but serious enough, you know what I'm saying. And so having that type of conversation with that type of guy is much more healing, if you like. It's much more beautiful. It's nicer interaction because I know that they're a trustworthy person overall, and you know, and I don't feel on edge with them. I feel really comfortable talking to them, and it's kind of like, even if I don't speak to them for a few days, I still think I'm probably going to keep speaking to them. They're kind of going to keep speaking to me, so there's not a scarcity there in that way. Not the moment anyway. It might prove to otherwise, but I think it'll be fine. And so, you know, that's a huge difference between that and a guy who's literally coming in and not telling you the full truth and being a bit dodgy or with what they say, and kind of like holding stuff back, not telling you everything, not really have flowing conversation, not really boundary driven. You know, that just would make me run a mile these days. So you have to know if you're the right person for that person to be right for, if you know what I mean. And you have to like make sure that you're the best version you can be. And if someone doesn't want you as you are and you can't be comfortable on an everyday basis with them, they're not right for you. You know, a real serious, committed, long-term relationship means you get to know everything about the person. You get to see them without makeup on. Obviously, I don't usually wear makeup, so people get to see them without makeup all the time. But in general, quite a lot of women wear makeup, so you get to see them without their makeup. You'll end up going to the, you know, same in the, usually be in the same house with them sometimes, going to the toilet, you know. They'll get to see you pass wind and get to hear your poops and all this kind of ugly stuff that goes on in real, serious, committed relationships, you know, like natural stuff that people don't talk about, you know, bodily functions and stuff like this, you know, like real serious committed relationship. You know, most people these days that are dating online, for example, they don't think this deep. They don't think like, how can I live with this person? How can I be with this person? How can we hang out with each other and go to the toilet? Like, you know, like you wouldn't go to the toilet in front of each other, but you can hear people, each other going to the toilet in, you know, in the same building, for example, and all this type of stuff that's natural. You know, a lot of the time people on dating sites these days, they're just like far out. All they're interested in is like hooking up, not actually a long term serious committed relationship, which has got, you know, like all the like weaknesses and strengths like out there in the open, you know, that has, you know, that you have to get on with that person day in, day out. And even if they're in a mood or they've had a bad day at work, but they shouldn't take the bad day out of you or be moody towards you like that on purpose. You know, you don't want to have an abusive relationship, but, you know, you'll know that some people's moods will be up and down sometimes. And, you know, you need to accommodate a certain amount of that. And, you know, some days people are going to be tired and not want to speak as much, and other days they are. So, I mean, I personally prefer living on my own because it's much easier then, you know, and living in separate places. I like that. So the person go back to theirs if they kind of need to chill, do whatever they want. And same here. And no time is wasted then. You know, so I think, you know, you have to be looking, if you're thinking about being serious about a relationship, then you have to be thinking long term, like what would happen if I was to get this person? Because some people, they like the fantasy. They like the fantasy like, oh, I'd love to be with this person, right? And they don't think it through. In their fantasy, like, this person's gorgeous, I'm really feeling for them and I really want to be with them, but they haven't then thought of the next stages. Okay, so you get this girl, then what? How are you going to have a real relationship with her? Do you live near her? You know, how far away do you live? What about your work scenarios? Is she working in the week and you're working at weekends? Because that wouldn't work out because you wouldn't be able to see each other. Does she like camping and abseiling and rock climbing? And you really like staying indoors, watching Netflix and playing, you know, video games? You know what I mean? You have to look at the whole picture, not just I like someone. You know, in order to like kind of cut down on emotional pain and upset, you need to be looking in the future. Like if you were having a crystal ball and you were looking into the future and you were looking at your ideal life with this type of person, this specific person, what would that look like? If you can map it out and say, yes, this is how we'd be on a daily basis, this is how much contact we'd have, this is how, obviously they might not agree because you haven't got their input at the moment. This is just you kind of idolizing the situation and how you'd like it to be. But you can have an idea in your mind of how you'd like that to be. Obviously you'll only know if you can achieve that if the other person have a similar mindset and wants a similar type of thing. If they want a completely different thing, then it's not going to work. So many people, they don't think about the next stages. They all think about, I'm really attracted to that person, I want them now. They don't think about long term, like how are you going to be together? Are you going to live together, not live together? Is their family going to get on with your family? Are you going to get on with their family? You know, is your work situation compatible? Where you live, is that compatible? Your long-term goals, do they want to go backpacking around Australia and you don't, for example? You know what I mean? All these things need to be taken into account. So not just a case of I like a girl, how do I basically might make her like me over someone else? It's like, okay, so you get the girl, what happens then? Are you going to be able to make her life much better and happier being with you, or are you not? Because if not, you need to leave that girl to be with the other guy and person. Because, you know, if you love someone, care someone, you want the best for them, right? I would rather a guy not be with me and go and be with someone else that makes him happier than if he didn't think I could make him happy. If he didn't think I was the right person for him and could make him the happiest person in the world, I would rather him go and be with another woman any day with my blessing, because I do not want to be second best in that way. You know, if he thinks someone else is better than me for him, go ahead and go be with her, because I do not want to be second best, you know? And so it's very much, you need to think through things, not just think if you like the person. And this is what's not talked about on a lot of channels, because a lot of them are geared towards just quick fixes of getting someone into a relationship or dating scenario very quickly. A lot of the time for personal gratification. But really, you need to look at the bigger picture, you know? Like, I just wish some of the guys that I'd been involved with in the past would just actually have thought about the bigger picture seriously before they'd even kind of like expressed feelings for me. You know, and thought them through, but they don't. And so it ends up getting messy, and feelings get hurt, and attachment grows, and you get hurt even more. And there's no point in that. It's just a waste of life and time, really, for everyone concerned. And so I'd urge you to like think fully about what you're doing. If it's a case of you really love that person, care about them, really want them in your life and want the best for them. But obviously, if they love someone else or like someone else, then you probably might have to let them go and just be with that person. That's what makes them happy. But if you think they'd like you, that they just don't realize you're interested in them, then be out, you know, tell them outright, you know, like, I know we're just friends or whatever, but I just want you to know that I do like you more than as a friend. And I just wanted to put that to you, because I don't know if you realize that. And I don't know if it makes any difference to you in your life. Just be honest and direct. Most people these days are not honest and direct. I tell all the guys I'm interested in if I'm attracted to them. Usually, I just tell them outright. If they're not attracted to me back, it doesn't matter to me. What does it matter? Because I'm happy living on my own and being on my own, and I don't actually need a guy, and I can move on to someone else a lot quicker then, or just be single. You know what I mean? So many people, they faff around, not actually getting straight to the point. Whereas just tell the person, just say, you know, that you like them more than a friend, that you realize they're interested in someone else. But if they, you know, felt like giving you a chance in the future, then you'd welcome it. Something like that, you know? So anyway, I hope you found this useful, helpful insight. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share anything in the comments below. Ask any questions about the questions you have. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, I post a new video. And don't forget to give this video, like I said, a thumbs up if you like it. I really appreciate you being here. Toxie, isn't it? Lots of love to you. Thank you for being here. And take care. And I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Bye-bye. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you. This has helped me out a lot. We'll remember this for my whole life. Thanks, Toxie. I'm really glad it's helped you. I appreciate it. Nice to have you as part of my channel community here. If you want to subscribe, please do. Lots of love. Hope that's helped you even more and more and more forever. Take care. Bye.